The following is a podcast from Talk Radio 970 KSYL.
It's Central Louisiana's original Talking Heads, Talkback 970, with Matthew Dunn and Jim Leggett. Give us a call at 442-TALK. That's 442-8255. Here's Talkback 970 with Matt and Jim.
8:06 on a Tuesday morning. In the studio with us, Pineville Mayor Clarence Fields. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
That's good to see you. It's been a while.
Oh, yeah. Good to see you also.
How is Miss Rosa doing?
She is doing great. We actually, I was thinking about that this morning. I thought I would throw a plug in for us. June is an interesting month for us because, well, and in particularly in the business that I'm in, when you're dealing with budgets and you're busy, and then we've got a stretch from literally June the 17th to June the 21st where a lot of things are going on. Son's birthday on the 17th, Father's Day, and then our anniversary is on the 21st. So,
how many years?
43 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So I've been blessed, and and I, obviously I give a lot of credit for that to her. I couldn't be more blessed than that.
You're very lucky, man. Yeah,
very lucky.
Really, yeah.
So June is special for us in many different ways.
Well, this is an interesting period we're going into right now as we get ready to start another special legislative session around the corner.
Yeah.
I know this is affecting you guys as well.
Yeah,
as far as your budget goes.
Yeah, it's the unknown, and sometimes people won't realize, and we're involved as much as we possibly can, particularly with our delegation, to try to get some idea where things might be going. But because when the budget the state of Louisiana is working with, and it impacts particularly all of the state facilities that we have, and then some other things that it impacts, people may not realize. Things really things flow down. And obviously over the years, and I think anybody else in this business, as far as municipalities are concerned, can tell you that over the years with some of the mandates that continually are passed down to the local government, a lot's on our backs right now, and some of it's understandable, but it makes it interesting for us.
Retirement's still a major problem, though.
Retirement, we
Funding
were.
I
got that question last night. I did a 3-hour presentation to our finance committee, and all 5 city council members serve also on that committee with some ad hoc committee, and all of our department head. We were under the impression probably a couple of years ago that the retirement system problems had settled a bit or whatever, and then lo and behold, this is the unknown that you really you don't know, and for the most part you can't control. 2 of the 3 retirement systems that we participate in, and the 3 are the municipal employee retirement system, the fire department's retirement system statewide, and also the police. Well, municipal employee retirement system went up, and then the police retirement system went up again. When I went in office, I can remember for instance, the municipal
Wait,
police
by the way, when you
retirement.
say they went up, they didn't go up just a little.
No. Well, I can tell you, when I went in office, most of them were in single digits. Okay. Now the police, I think, as we speak, is 34%. Okay. Yeah. And going up 2% this year. And when you talk in a police department where you have a $6 million budget, 2% hits you pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
And so we're having to deal with that from a budgetary standpoint when you talk about those 2 retirement systems and this employee retirement system. And you never really know, because those are driven by so many different variables, when driven by the economy, the market, and investment portfolios and things of that nature or whatever. It's also driven by how many employees in those different systems, when they retire, at what age they retire, just a lot of variables there.
Sure.
So it's always the unknown. One thing, I guess the other part about that, the problem is it's never going to go back the other way. So if some sense of stability would be, in some sense, of not having to worry about that each and every year. But that's not the case. And I can tell you, in particular, it costs us quite. I can remember one year it cost us $833,000 totally. As far as the increase over one budget year when it came to retirement systems. So it puts a burden on you for when when the unknown is out there.
Oh, no doubt.
So, but we were talking earlier about the budget and the presentation last night, and what we will do in the council meeting on this evening. Just to remind the council meeting at 6 p.m. on this evening. We'll introduce hopefully the amended budget for 2017, 2018, and then introduce the proposed budget for 18, 19. And what we're looking at right now, of course, unfortunately, our fund balance keeps going downward. I was listening as it was coming. Somebody was saying that the costs keep going up, but the money keeps going down. And for the most part, that's a very true statement when you talk about, particularly for us in the city of Pineville. Literally our two major sources of revenue when you're talking about the general fund budget or the property tax, the millage, and sales tax.
I got a call. You're out with Mayor Clarence Fields. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mayor. And happy anniversary in advance.
Oh, thank you.
Miss Rosa.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. That's a good success pattern and a good example for us all.
Well, thank you.
I was just wondering, as you were discussing the budget issues, I know we need police. I think police should always be funded, by the government.
Mm-hmm.
But have you ever thought of using contract labor wherever possible? You're talking about other workers, that don't have to be funded by the government, because when you hire an employee, that is the most expensive way to do it.
Correct.
They're on the hook for their health care and their retirement, and so it's a long-term obligation. Like you said, it's never going to go down. So I was just wondering, have you ever considered that, or where does Pineville rank with other municipalities their size as for the percentage of people working for the city government? I'll hang up.
Right.
Good question, Dave. Thanks.
Actually, it varies across, and we look at studies all the time relative to how many employees. And I'll tell you, we have, as we speak, I think 290 employees. 18 years ago, when I went into office, we had approximately 250 employees. We tried to shift that trend by utilizing contract labor and utilizing part-time employees relative to exactly what you're saying, because the benefit side is so staggering.
Is it 290 all full-time?
That's full-time and part-time.
And part-time, okay.
And there's some other, I'll give you a perfect example. I know it's been a topic of discussion. We also utilize, and it goes a long way for us, and I cannot imagine not being able to utilize inmate labor. We have somewhere probably close to 25 individuals out of that pool that works in various areas. To try to replace those folks would be, I don't know if we can't replace them, but we do utilize part-time employees. But, I'll give you a perfect example. In our beautification department, we were utilizing part-time employees, and I think we have 7 individuals in our beautification department. I think 5 of those may have been, full-time, and 2 part-time, or 3 part-time, something like that. We found, and we made that shift in the budget on last evening also, that we went to replace 2 of those with a full-time employee, because from a standpoint of getting the job done, we realized we were getting behind because we were using seasonal employees. But then you find yourself so it all depends. And by the way, from city to city,
I got to ask, what is a beautification?
Beautification is all the folks that you see on the expressway, cleaning, cutting grass, picking up paper, flower beds, all those kinds of things.
I got to tell you,
know,
I say it all the time, and the first impression you get of any town is when you drive into it, and you see all the trash on the side of the road and everything. It leaves you with such a horrible impression. Mm-hmm. You never get that impression in Pineville, and I realize that you could almost have people going 24/7 because people are such slobs, but.
We could utilize
you guys
people.
Do a great job.
Yeah, we could utilize people 24/7. We have a lot of work to do in different areas of our city when it comes to beautification. But they take a lot of pride in what they do, and But there are other areas that a perfect example in the police department as we speak. We have utilized retirees on occasions to do the same jobs that they were doing when they were full-time employees, to not have to go out and hire a full-time employee
that makes
to
a lot
take
of sense.
on those jobs.
Yeah, you don't have that whole learning curve and everything that goes with it. Yeah.
Particularly in recreation, we utilize many part-time individuals in the recreation arena, recreation community service, particularly recreation community service. We have a lot of part-time people because it's not all full-time jobs, and it's not jobs that are 8-hour day jobs because in recreation,
a lot of seasonal too.
A lot of seasonal and things of that nature. So the question of it varies really from city to city, and we've studied other cities, but it varies because even though we may be of a city of there are 26 communities that are particularly the size of, let's say, the size of Pineville. When you talk about the Natchitoches and
Right.
places like that, there's so many different variables. That's how
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, I agree.
take care of responsibilities, and then fund. Obviously, the budget and the funding becomes another issue that you have to deal with. So there are some differences, but we do the best that we possibly can
Now,
at
did ask the
utilizing
question,
employees.
though, how much of it do you farm anything out?
We really don't farm anything out. I'll give you another example. Most cities, relative to sanitation and trash, farm that out, and that's something. We're one of the few cities, including Alexandria,
Right.
that still continue to take care of that business ourselves. When I went in office on the
And I'll be honest with
sanitation
you,
side, yeah.
I like it better when.
Well, yeah, you have to be very careful in doing that, and then the cost, okay,
Right.
and then also the control of the services. Those are
Right.
things but it's expensive, and
Yeah.
but sometimes you have to make those harsh decisions whether you're going to contract something out. I'll give you another example because I'll give kudos to Police Chairman Bishop. A lot of people probably are knowledgeable. We've had a bridge out Greer Road Bridge off of 28 East that connects to Edgewood Drive. That bridge has been out for just over a month. Okay, and thanks to Police Chairman Joe Bishop, he called me a couple of weeks ago and wondering where we were on that. So he offered the police jury services, and so they actually did an intergovernmental agreement in their meeting on yesterday, and we'll do one tonight where the police jury will come in and we will pay for the materials, and we'll pay for the labor, and their road crew will replace that bridge. Now, if we had to go out and do that, it would be triple the cost. So
Sure.
you have to make those decisions. So
I know. By the way, folks, if you hear a bang, it's something that the mayor has just thrown across the counter at me for the counter question. But I know that it's a totally different situation. The bridge on by the VA.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we getting any closer on that? I've never seen that long to replace a bridge.
Yeah, I'm not sure right now because I've not really had contact with DOT to see
It
where
is
things
a
are on that.
nightmare, especially afternoon drive when people have to go down and then make that left-hand turn by King's Country to get onto 167. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, but back to the employee situation and the
You
need
get around that
for
real quick. Did you notice how
Yeah,
quick?
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's DOTD. That's
Yeah.
another
I
world.
do realize that. So we have no idea on that.
But there's communities that contract out things or whatever, and we do the best that we possibly can in utilizing what we have, and when the need is there, we will contract out some of our business. But there's some things that you just can't farm out because of unfortunately fortunately for us, but fortunately for our citizens, there's some things that we do better than anybody, and to lose that, obviously you pay the cost.
We saw that during the Jindal administration, where he farmed out all of these different contracts, shut down these departments and things. And then all of a sudden we realized, well, number one, they weren't doing as good of a job. There wasn't the accountability. And then you couldn't bring them back because the departments weren't there anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
depleted funds.
It was a terrible situation. And I can remember John Kennedy sitting there going, well, we've got all these contracts out there. Well, yeah.
Well,
that was a terrible situation.
And then too, you've got so many other variables now relative to liability and all kinds of things that you have to deal with, and employees being trained and all the above. Those things you don't get past. You have to, and that's been a problem also for the most part. Is that the cost of that and the training and all the above and the mandates they don't go away. You have to adhere to them, and rightfully so. But we do the best that we can do with what we have. We could use some more employees, but we can't do that, because budgetary wise, we can't handle that. So, and there's some places where we do without, and our people just put forth the effort. And the problem too, also, we sometimes have to be careful if you don't have the right amount of employees you need to take on to carry out the responsibilities, because then too, if you're not careful, overtime eats your lunch up.
Eat your lunch.
That's another thing that we, that's an issue for us also, is the overtime that we have to pay because we're utilizing employees, and obviously that drives the other related cost up and everything.
It shows you how over a short period of time, we got to take a break, but over a short period of time, how things have changed, because I remember when I first moved to town here in 86, it was during Mayor Baden's administration. And, Mayor Fred had a different way of doing things than most people on the face of the planet.
That's one way of putting it.
But no, I mean, it was, but you couldn't do it anymore. Some of the things that he did, you just could not do anymore, And he had that one go-to guy for everything, Bobby Michael.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it didn't matter what happened. Bobby will take care of it. It'd be 2:00 in the morning. Bobby would be there taking care of it. Those days are gone, unfortunately. You know,
Yeah, things have
You can't
changed.
run government like that.
No,
anymore.
not anymore.
Quick break. We'll be right back.
Talk Radio 970, KSYL. Give us a call at 442-TALK. That's 442-8255. Let's get back to the show on KSYL 970 and in high definition on 100.3 HD3.
In the studio with us is monthly visit Pineville Mayor Clarence Fields. As we're going down the agenda today, you were talking about you started the formulation of the budget. Now, when will that come to fruition?
Well,
when does your fiscal year start? First of July?
Start 1st of
Oh, so
July.
just
Yeah,
around
we
the
will
corner.
actually in tonight's regular council meeting. We'll call for a special council meeting on June 29th, which is the last working day of the budget year, and that's on a Friday at 12 noon. For the public hearing, and also that's where hopefully the council will adopt the budget. Yeah, you always put that in there, you know. Let me
put this so
close to the end there, you know.
Pineville and other municipalities do have a provision. If there is no budget,
That's correct.
they can go on half the previous year's budget, however long that lasts.
Okay.
I don't know if that applies to the state.
Half the budget, though?
Yeah, and I don't want to ever have to be in that situation.
No, I don't think so.
But let me talk about that, and I say hopefully, and you always say things like
All right,
that.
before
but
we start, let's take this
sure,
one call
go right
real
ahead.
quick. Good morning, you're on the air with Mayor Fields.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Quick question, not about a budget, but on 28 East, off the expressway where the old Exxon used to be.
Mhm.
You know where I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
They've been marking the sidewalks and stuff there. Is there anything getting ready to change there or go in there?
But yes, there is. We are having conversation with an entity that's looking at the possibility of building there. Because of where we are in the process, I'm not at liberty to obviously tell who that might be, but
It's not
hopefully
Olive
pretty
Garden,
soon.
huh?
No, unfortunately,
No
it's not
Olive
Olive
Garden. Oh,
Garden,
wow.
but it's potentially a eatery. I'll put it like that. But but there is some movement that's happening as we speak at that particular location.
So it'd be it's looking at a national chain's looking at it.
A fast food national chain that's looking at it is what's actually looking at that
cool.
particular location.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. And my apologies, obviously, as you well understand, until everything is, till the pieces to the puzzle are put together. We are not, it's not an announcement that we can make. They'll have to give the okay to go ahead and make that announcement when it's set in stone. So, but it looks very good as we speak.
Very good. All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate it. 442-8255. 442-TALK, by the way, the telephone number.
By the way, speaking of, retail and speaking of, restaurants, we are in contract with a company called Retail Strategies. Their responsibility is to hopefully help us, obviously attract, businesses, both retail and restaurants to the city of Pineville. So that was necessary for us to do that, to get some others involved.
If nothing else, it's like throwing chum out in the water. That does get people.
And
attention.
it's tough right now. The economy is tough, regardless of what people might think. It varies from region to region. And
I got to tell you, I'm glad I'm not mayor, because this right now, I mean, to me, it's sort of scary where we are right now. I don't think I remember it this quiet quite a while.
It's interesting.
I mean, we're seeing it in the broadcast industry.
Yeah.
And it's all over the state. It's, certain areas of the state are just exploding, as Rob was pointing out the other day, last week. And then we've got, pretty much anything north of I-10, it's just so quiet.
Yeah, I can tell you, we will be going to Lake Charles later in the, late July for the Louisiana Municipal Association's
it's
annual
crazy down there
conference,
right now. Yeah.
and it has exploded down there. And but it, like you say, it's from region to region, and it depends. It all depends on what you possess, for lack of better words. And
exactly.
That's what it's all about. I know we have some industry here, and most of our industries have done well, but there's a lot that go into that, and we continually work at it, but scary is a good word, and
it is scary.
But we still try to be optimistic, but it's just not easy. It's really not easy anymore, because it drives the train that we on or off the tracks, for lack of better words. It's having an impact on our sales tax. Our sales tax are pretty much flat, and we obviously are looking for something to obviously help us there, particularly in our position that we're currently in and everything. But we work very hard at that. It's amazing. I get so many requests or ideas, and man, they're all great, but it's tough to pull off what people would really like to see, because to some extent or whatever, we're not in control of that. We just,
well, it takes money too.
It takes money and a lot of other pieces to the puzzle, obviously, that have to be in place. I think that's why I don't go out and say, the gentleman who just called about that particular, that it doesn't take but a minute for someone to pull the plug from under you. And we found that out big time with the IP land issue and all the above. So you just can't put yourself out there.
I was just talking about that over the weekend with somebody saying that, it's amazing to look at that facility sitting where it is, and the fact that it does show you the state of the state, really, in the fact that with that facility sitting where it is, right on the river, all the accessibility that it's got, and it's just sitting there.
Right.
I think there's a lot of positive things that are going on in relationship to that, and hopefully we'll see some things happening. I think some pieces to a puzzle are being put together to be able to market it correctly and all the above.
That's what I wanted to touch on. I want to touch on that when we get back from the break.
Sure.
Because major changes. Really, one of the key players in town here is gone now, and a new player coming in hopefully pretty soon. And that being with the England Authority, in the reach that it has, and I'm sort of curious to see what you think, what effects it's going to have. But take a break. We'll be right back.
Give us a call at 442-TALK. That's 442-8255. Let's get back to the show on KSYL 970 and in high definition on 100.3 HD3.
Pineville Mayor Clarence Fields in the studio with us. We were talking just before the break about the changes happening out of the England Authority, major changes. And, of course, the authority has a lot of clout in all of Rapides Parish and surrounding areas. What do you see happening with that as far as any of the other projects that you have, like the old IP mill and things like that?
Well, I think they, like others, will be intimately involved from one extent to the other as far as that IP side is concerned. But there's some other major players that are necessary, and I think they are involved now on that IP side. I think the IP side is a matter of who retains, I guess you could say, control of it, ownership of it, and all the above to be able to.
Who owns it now officially?
Well, officially, it's still up under. I know there's some major company that's involved with it. As far as who has direct ownership of it, I'm not sure of that.
Area.
But I feel good about that particular site. It's by the way, it is one of the I guess you could say ready sites in Louisiana. Because of what's there from when you talk about infrastructure and things of that nature, whatever. So, but I think the folks that'll be involved now will. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Of course, you got to realize. That a lot of that's still in the bankruptcy courts and all of the above or whatever. So there's a lot to come out of that. But I think the direction being taken, and we have constant conversation with different individuals about what might happen there, what's going on there. I think once it clears the hurdle that it's been in, I think it'll be more. It'll move a bit quicker, and I think people will become more interested.
But
in
IP sold that, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so whoever owns it is on the records is having to pay the tax until it's adjudicated.
Yeah, that's correct. So, but hopefully in the next month or so, it'll come out of the bankruptcy proceedings or whatever, and then it can move forward with the folks that'll have control of it and trying to make something happen there.
Now you're gonna hit me on this, but I got to ask the question.
Sure.
We just had a rather large job fair here in town.
Okay.
Which was I think we do it every year, and it's a great event. But it is scary when you see some of the people who come into that, and I'm not saying just a few, it's a lot of the people who come into that job fair in pajamas and things like that to look for a job. If we were to have a company come in and 500 people, something like that, like at the IP facility, would we be able to staff it?
I'm not sure. I say that in saying that I think we are preparing to try to be in a position to, have individuals that can be, when you go back to the, whether it's the community colleges and things of that nature, a lot of preparations are being made there. But I'll tell you, it's not easy.
No,
it is not. Even at the municipal level, as far as now with the requirements and all of the above, it's tough, particularly in public safety, for us to retain employees, let alone, get employees to buy into coming into whether it's the police department, fire department, and things of that nature or whatever. It's a different it's a different mindset out there, and some things have to change to we're not the only place that's suffering as far as providing necessary workforce for people or for companies that are interested in coming into someone's area or whatever. And look, let's be frank about it. And we also we talk local all the time, but when someone has to bring somebody in from elsewhere to work these jobs and all the above, that's still advantageous for us. And
we tax revenue.
It's a problem. It's a problem.
Right, Lake Charles has found that. I mean, a lot of the people who are coming in for these new plants that are being built down there, coming in from Texas, coming in from Oklahoma, simply because they've literally tapped the workforce there.
That's exactly right.
And but it still allows that economy to boom because those people live there.
If you build it, they will come.
Oh, and that's the situation. They can't build it fast enough, So there's definitely advantages to that.
But the mindset of individuals,
but a lot of companies won't come if they don't see that there's something there.
Yeah, well, if you can't supply the needs, they're not going to come.
Right.
And obviously the workforce is so important. So we just got to continue our efforts in trying to educate people based on what the whether it's into whatever the industry is or whatever, whether it's welders or whatever it may be, we got to continue to do our very best in educating those individuals and hope for the best. And something's got to change as far as the mindset of individuals who are looking for employment or who, I don't know.
I don't know what the answer is to that because I've gone around and around and around with people on that. I don't know what the answer is.
There's so many variables when you talk about that. The unfortunately, to be very honest with you, the drug problems that exist in this nation is a huge issue, and it drives that mindset for the most part.
It's interesting. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday, as a matter of fact, who does computer work here in town. I brought a computer up. The old KSYL Studios, which was donated by our company here to an organization that is helping homeless people get back on their feet. And what he was talking about, sometimes the best laid plans have real negative intentions. Negative results, yeah. And he was saying that, that he's got people sleeping in his bushes now.
Yeah.
and he says that it's crazy. He says they have to keep the door they're right around the corner, so they have to keep their door locked in their business all the time because people just walk in, and it's sad. But there's so many people out there, and you don't realize it. I drove down Jackson Street yesterday. And there's certain places in town now, and it's everywhere. It's not just Alexandria. It's Pineville, it's everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's certain places now. We've got certain people who have pretty much taken up residence on a corner.
They own the corner with a cardboard sign.
The Royal Martin, right across from their corporate headquarters, right. at that intersection. There's a man that lives there around the clock now at that stop sign
with his dog.
I can't tell you, and it's everywhere, and it's so much of it, and I can't tell you what the answer is. I really can't.
I mean, I don't think anybody can at this point.
All I can tell you is that we got a lot of praying to do, and I don't mind talking about that.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
I don't know what the answer is, but I just still have to be optimistic that hopefully something may change. But in the meantime, it's tough. It makes it very tough on us.
It is. It is very scary. All right, so you handed me something here having to do with utilities, and I want to talk about that, but let's take the break, and then we come back and spend as much time as we want on this. Don't go away. It's Talk Radio 970 KSYL. Pineville Mayor Clarence Fields in the studio with us. Don't go away.
Talk Radio 970 KSYL. Give us a call at 442-TALK. That's 442-8255. Let's get back to the show on KSYL 970 and in high definition on 100.3 HD3.
And Pineville Mayor Clarence Fields in the studio with us. If you've got a question for the mayor, it doesn't have to be what we're talking about here. Please feel free to pick up the phone. Give us a call. 442-8255. 442-TALK is the telephone number. You handed me a thing here. I have seen this, and I heard Rod Knowles talk about it, having to do with it was a utility comparison that was done. Mm-hmm. And when I look at it, to me, it sort of seems like it's comparing, in some cases, apples and oranges.
Well, when I received it, and we have people obviously that live in Alexandria. By the way, we do studies all the time. All communities do studies on whether it's water rates, sewer rates, those who have electric service, those who have gas service. And I talk about this all the time, and that's how we try to communicate to people. We're not going to make any bones about it that our rates might be higher when it comes to water and sewer than, let's say a city of Alexandria or Shreveport or whatever. But there's a lot of variables that play into that. One, the cost of producing that particular necessity to people. the makeup of your city. When I say that, for instance, in the city of Pineville, we probably have more sewer pump stations in Pineville than most cities in Louisiana. We have over 80 sewer pump stations. So there's a difference in how you operate, and also from an environmental standpoint, so many variables here. I remind people all the time, our electrical system, which is CLECO, and our gas system, which is Atmos Energy, we don't own those systems, so we have no say. So we have they play no part in our budget process.
Well, there are people who may say, then why doesn't the city own it? But I mean, I think the days of municipalities building electrical
it's the other way.
It's gone.
We never will. We never will own our electrical. We'd love to have them. Believe me, we'd love to have. It'd make life easier for us if we own those too.
And I mean, the ones that have done it they did it years ago.
Correct.
But to build a system from the ground up would be next to impossible.
Yeah. But this comparison, what it was called a state, and rightfully so. You need to inform your citizens of what what your costs are and all the above. And this is called a statewide utility cost comparison, which is exactly what it is. The problem that we see with it, particularly here, in central Louisiana, it makes it somewhat look like we have the second highest utility rates in the state of Louisiana, next to New Orleans, Louisiana, which is not the case if you comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges, because we only produce water and we only provide the sewer services or whatever. So,
all right, got a phone call here. Let's take a quick.
I've
got a couple, as a matter of fact. Good morning. You're on the air with Mayor Fields. Thanks for calling.
Good morning, fellas. How y'all doing today?
Great. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I have a complaint and a compliment.
Sure.
I was in a car accident in Pineville. The other guy was completely at fault.
Okay.
But I needed some information, so I went down to your police station. And they were really not very helpful.
Okay.
The uniform officer in dispatch, acted like he was annoyed that I was even there.
Okay.
The woman in the first office past dispatch, couldn't even be bothered to pull her face out of the computer when I was trying to talk to her.
Okay.
They made absolutely zero effort to give me any assistance whatsoever.
Okay. Yeah.
So at that point, I did the only thing I could do. I told her thanks for nothing, and went straight up to your office. And I spoke to a lady up there. Her first initial was K. I don't think I should say her name on the air. But she was very helpful, very pleasant. She made the calls and got the information I needed.
Okay.
And even called me back the next day to make sure I had everything I needed.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I told her I was going to make sure she got a pat on the back. She said not to because she was just doing her job. But I think she went the extra mile.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here, let me tell you this about Karen. I'll mention her name because Karen.
Okay. Well, actually, it was the other K.
Okay. All right, Kate. I'll tell you about Kate too, but also, keep Karen in your prayers because she, she's no longer with us. She's retired, but keep her in your prayers because of some medical day. But Kate is our new city clerk, very energetic young lady. And I will tell you this, and anybody else in the listening audience, when you when you have situations like that, and in particular, I'd still like to know, and please feel free to call my office. To let me know what time this happened, what day it happened. That way I can go back and have conversation with the chief to see the individuals that were on duty at that particular time. So I still need to do that. So I still need for you to deliver that information. But I'm glad eventually you were taken care of. And my apologies for the initial discomfort.
Yeah, it was just like I said. She wouldn't even look at me when I was talking to her type situation.
Okay,
so,
that easily can be taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I can get that information to you.
Please do that.
Caller,
do
thanks.
That. I still think you're a great mayor. There's only 2 Democrats in the world I'd vote for, and you're one of them.
I appreciate that very much.
I appreciate.
I'm glad that's not
everything you've done.
Thank you. I'm glad that's not a factor. Thank you.
It's funny, we were talking earlier that I'm approaching the retirement age, but I'm going to continue working as long as I can. But that's the kind of a job that I would love to have. I would love to have the job that somebody comes in with a problem like that and you solve it. That's going to be very rewarding.
Well, it's rewarding because a lot of those problems are solved, and some of them don't get to me like that one, but it gets solved.
Yeah, but that's a nice thing.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a nice thing. Yeah.
It really is.
Good morning. You're on the air with the mayor. Thanks for calling.
Hey, Super Dave and Big Jim and Mayor Clarence Fields.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Morning.
Hey, yes, sir. hope you have a happy and blessed anniversary. I
Thank
heard
you.
that, and I hope you have a happy and blessed Father's Day coming up. Mayor Fields, I wanted to give a compliment to the police department and you.
Okay.
Last month, you spoke as keynote speaker at Sheriff Hilton's Fallen Officers, and, of course, Big Jim Bird died that same week and
Right.
everything.
Right.
But you really gave a good speech about how these officers risk their lives and stuff. Now, I don't know what kind of trouble that fella had that just spoke a minute ago, but I've had good contact with all the police officers I ever ran in. I was a military police officer at Camp Beauregard in Pineville. So I want to, sometimes you get bad officers, criminal officers, or even racist officers, but I want to commend you, too, when that young black fella got shot. And some people, and Tony Brown brought this out on his other show, said that y'all had shot the man and all like that, but because of Joe Dare's security cameras and the way you handled it professionally as the Pineville Police Department, that man killed himself. Y'all didn't shoot at him, and you had every right because he shot at y'all. You had every right to shoot at that man.
Did Tony come? By the way, did Tony come back and say that was what happened?
Yes, that's what I wanted to tell you.
Wow.
Because see, he said he knows Matt too, Super Dave.
Yeah.
And I see Matty Matt is sick today, so I'm praying for him. He had a rough day yesterday. I heard him yesterday.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I just wanted to commend you, and like I said, Tony Brown commended you and stuff, and the chief of police over there in Pineville. Because, like I said, all you got to do is come out with the truth, good or bad. Just come out with the truth, and you can head off a whole lot of problems.
I agree. Cornelius, thanks, my friend.
But God bless you, and thank you so much, Super Dave.
All right, man.
Well, thanks for that. Obviously, it's not a perfect world. The gentleman who called prior to that, he had something that he dealt with, and that shows you it's not a perfect world, but we have to deal with it.
And sometimes you got to realize, I see it in the building here. Sometimes people just have a bad day.
Yeah.
I mean, it just happens, All right, quick break. We'll be right back. Final segment with Mayor Clarence Fields. Don't go away.
Talk Radio 970, KSYL. Give us a call at 442-TALK. That's 442-8255. Now, back to the show on KSYL 970 and in high definition on 100.3 HD3.
Thanks for waiting around with Mayor.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, sir.
Could you give us a little update on what's happening with those buildings that got moved in behind Lebo's off of 107?
One of the buildings behind Lebo's, the one that you see that has the siding going up on it, it is supposed to become an office building. The other buildings, along with those trailers that are sitting on that property, are supposed to be moved.
Okay.
And we will make that happen.
More progress for Pineville. That's good.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Mayor, I only got a few more minutes here. You want to wrap things up?
Yeah, I've got some small things I need to talk about very fast. But I'm just to let the general public know, particularly ours, I will continue to, talk about the rate comparison, because I think our people, as much as we try to communicate the facts to them, I need them to know the facts. So I will, in every aspect that I can do that, I'll communicate the differences in this supposedly utility rate comparison. By the way, if people see a lot of work going on in the downtown area, particularly around City Bourne on Lakeview Street, Sanders Street, the roads kind of in disrepair and all the above. There's a huge sewer project that's going on, replacement project that's going on both Lakeview and Sanders Street. So that's why you see all of that's happening there. And once they've completed the pipe bursting and line replacement, then they'll come back and start putting the streets back into the shape that they should be in. Also on Shamrock, not very far around the corner in the National Cemetery area up to Melrose, there's a sidewalk project that's going on there. So that's kind of a enhancement beautification project that's going on there. So hopefully that project will be completed very soon. By the way, splash pads open for the summer. And it's the times that the splash pad over at Keys Park is from 10:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm not sure, but I think there's one day where it may be closed. I know it used to be for maintenance on a weekly basis and everything, but it is in operation as we speak. I talked about the bridge on Greer Road. Hopefully we'll see construction begin to replace that bridge in the very near future. If you've been around the airport and there's some work going on the backside of the airport on Airport Road, where that road is kind of being relocated. Actually, the road's being moved outward and that way it calls for enhancing the approach on the runway at the airport. So
wonderful. We're talking municipal, right?
Municipal airport. That's correct. Behind Buell Lake.
Right.
So
no, there's a hidden gem back there. You know,
I
love to go
really
back
is.
there. A lot of people don't realize what a beautiful area that is back there.
Over the past few years, there's been probably $3 to $3.5 million that's been spent on improvements. A lot more, hopefully, to go. And we thank the state for the airport authority for getting involved in that. But it is a gem. And
how about Fort Bulow? Are they ever looking at opening that area back up again? That area that they had just really opened it right before the construction started on the bridge.
Meaning matter of fact, we'll have 4th of July. And I think it's going to be the second year since everything's opened back up as far as where the pavilion and everything is.
Oh, okay.
That's 4th of July. Our fireworks of Bulow will begin July the 3rd. Wow, that time went fast or whatever. July the 3rd, the gates will open at 4:30, and we will have 3 different bands that will be performing that evening before the fireworks begin between 9:30 and 10 p.m. on that particular evening.
Please call in on the morning show and remind folks about that.
I'll do that.
It's wonderful seeing you.
Good to be here. Appreciate it very much.
It's so good of you to come in here every month. It means a lot to folks, and I've never heard a negative thing about it. Everybody enjoys it.
We enjoy it. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
All right, Mayor. Good being here, sir.
Good to have you here.
All right, hopefully, Matt, back tomorrow.
I think we ought to make it every once in a while more often.
Yeah. The views expressed were those of the host and callers, and not necessarily those of Sinlaw Broadcasting.